Ernie used to unravel at vet visits, hissing, striking, total meltdown. But he's not bad. He was just scared. So we changed the entire experience. In-home care, calming medication, and gentle, low-stress handling. Let me show you how he became relaxed and how your cat can be too. Hello, it's Dr. Chris from the 100X Mobile Vet. All right, today we're gonna talk about something super important, something I actually love. I'm gonna tell you from a cat perspective and dog perspective. The first video is dealing with cats. There are many cats out there, and they are the house panther. They are the boss cat, or they're very, very frightened. And they would rather jump off a bridge versus seeing a vet, going into a clinic. And one thing you'll always hear from me, whether it be a cat or dog, is this: I'm here to reinvent what vet medicine means for your cat. Let me tell you why, and let me tell you how. And that's a big part of what we do at the 100X Mobile Vet, and it works amazing. Like, I'm so excited about it, right? It's how we have worked with cats over time. Now, nowadays, you can go into various clinics and they have this thing called fear-free. You know, they could be a fear-free clinic. They do an online course and they put a sticker on the wall that says they're fear-free. We were doing fear-free before there was such a thing as fear-free. Why? Because I'm old. Way back in the day, in the 1990s, I did a master's degree, and it was with animal welfare and how you treat them and how you think about them. And a lot of it had to do with all different species, definitely fish. And I'm here to tell you, those core concepts stuck with me in terms of how we structured, how we work with pets and cats at the 100X Mobile Vet. One thing right away that makes us so much different is, in vet medicine right now, when I'm dealing with the cat, I imagine your cat isn't 5, 6, 7 kilos. No. I imagine I've got to treat your cat as if he or her were 30 kilos, 60 kilos. Why? That size demands respect. Let's see anyone try to have their way through any sort of vet procedure with a feline that big. You are now lunch or dinner. So that's the way I think of them. That's the approach. We're gonna treat them with respect. There's another word for this. In the vet industry, we have this word called compliance. Compliance is like a military term. It's a law enforcement term. And in those contexts, yeah, great, have at it. But when working with pets, you're not supposed to make them compliant, all right? Or a pet owner compliant. Instead, there's a different model that we work with at the 100X Mobile Vet. It's called concordance. And what that means is you as a pet owner, me as a vet, and your cat all have equal stakes in how things go. We all have opinions and we work together concordantly to make a plan. And I find that is the way to treat a scared or fear-aggressive feline. Let's walk through it. Let's pretend I'm coming over to your house and your cat doesn't want anything to do with vet intervention. It's gone bad before. You went into a vet clinic, they gave you meds, they gave you sedatives. Your cat got maybe a little bit drowsy at home, and then you put it in the cat carrier, and then you took him to the clinic and all hell broke loose. It didn't work, and he peed or pooped on himself in the cage. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I've even heard of some clinics charging people for cleaning their pets after they've soiled themselves. It's embarrassing for them, especially a cat, right? They're very, very meticulously clean creatures. So what do I gotta do? The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk in, I'm gonna sit down, I'm not even gonna look at your cat, I'm not even gonna touch your cat. We're just gonna have a conversation. For 50% of cats coming into your home as a guest and then sitting down and having a 20-minute conversation, and you're gonna tell me everything on your mind for your cat and all the challenges and struggles, but the thing that you need solved today, quickly. I'm just gonna listen to that. And lo and behold, for a lot of cats, 50% of them, they're gonna hear my voice, hear your voice, hear a conversation, and they're gonna be like, oh, company came over. Oh, it's different. And I get it. For some cats, maybe they're scaredy cats, they don't like company coming over. All to say, for many cats, that is good enough. And then they're relaxed, relaxed enough where I can do procedures such as vaccination, exams. This is enough for me to get started for most things that you might need. So a lot of those cats too, we put something on them called a thunder shirt. What is a thunder shirt? It's actually this, it looks like a shirt for some of your cats who are bigger. It looks like a belly shirt, crop top, and it actually just relaxes them. It calms them down a little bit. And so, and then with you there in the room, perhaps with some treats, You know, for a lot of you pet owners out there, you're better than drugs. You know, it all works. So for half of the cats we see, it's really just not being in the carrier, a car ride, a clinic. It's just being a guest in your home, making some priorities. What do we have to do today? Oh, this is the priority. How about we just do that? How about I not ask your cat to count the alphabet? How about I not ask your cat to go beyond what they're comfortable doing? Okay, that's for 50% of cats. Now, what about the other 50% of cats where, nah, even if you come over, they the boss. They don't want to be touched. Did I give you permission to touch me? No, I did not. Cats have this thing called, and we call it the New York City subway phenomenon. Just because I'm close to you doesn't mean I gave you permission to touch, all right? That's what that is. And so there are some cats where, you know, they'll escalate quickly. They are the boss of the room. They will tell you they're the boss in the room. What do I do for those cats? It's often a two-parter, and this is when we really reinvent vet medicine for these cats. What does that even mean? The first part is called pre-exposure. What is pre-exposure? It's me sitting my butt on your couch and we're talking, having a great conversation, and then your cat's there. I haven't done anything bad. I haven't enforced anything on him, and maybe his or her eyeballs go from round, dilated, moon-shaped orbs back into little almonds. This is a sign that their nervous system, their hormones, adrenal glands are starting to relax. Then the ears maybe start to come forward, and then if I catch them at the corner of my eye and they give me a slow blink, I know right off the bat there's some good feelings going on. And I still I'm not going to do any procedures on this day because we're in the pre-exposure phase. What does that mean? There was a study back in the day with me, and this was in the 90s, and we were trying to discover if fish were conscious, if fish could feel fear, stress, pain. And there was this interesting study in the 1980s using paradise fish, but there was something remarkable. It was called pre-exposure. If you took this little fish and taught it something about its environment, it would do something called mental construction. It would actually create a map of the world and how it would treat its situation in the future that it could always come back to. That's one of the reasons why it was hypothesized that yes, fish can be conscious, this mental construction. Your cat's the same. If I'm just there, nothing bad happens. When I come back the next time, even if I've got to do something that they don't exactly like, they can always go back to that first experience to say, oh, you know what, he did this, we were playing and then he bit me, but then, you know, the first time I saw him, he was a good guy, so it's okay. Versus if I do something and I cross their boundaries on day one, they're always gonna remember that, right? Now, why am I telling you about this whole thing about pre-exposure? It's because I might walk into your home for your house panther boss cat and say, you know what, he doesn't want to be touched. I'm gonna get some pre-exposure with you, and then we're gonna talk about the magic. And what is the magic? For the vast majority of cats out there, I now have a relationship with you, especially if I've never seen you before as a client, and I'm now able to legally authorize and prescribe medications. And what am I going to prescribe? I'm looking at your body weight, I'm looking at your temperament, and the first thing I'm gonna suggest is something called gabapentin. Gabapentin. What is gabapentin? It can take a house panther, boss cat, anger cat, into the Buddha cat. I'm calm, I'm chill. Do I need a vaccine? Do I need a blood sample? What do I need? I'm now able to do it. So how much gabapentin are you gonna get from me? This is something that is, again, really our specialty because we've got the numbers. We've worked with so many cats at these dose ranges that we're very, very confident. I also consulted with some board certified behaviorists, and this is where we got the initial data from, and then we tested it, and then we found that it worked. So gabapentin, for 90% of cats, if I give you 300 milligrams, and most clinics are not going to give you that, 300 milligrams, whether it be a powder or a liquid or a tablet, dealer's choice, whatever you think you can get into your cat. And you can put that into your cat, whether through food or treat or down the hatch, 90 minutes to 2 hours before we show up on the next subsequent visit. This is what I call reinvention, because then we're gonna walk in, and for the vast majority of cats, that is going to work. There's only a few cases that kind of slip by that, and we'll talk about those, right? So that's 300 milligrams. For me, there's really 3 levels of gabapentin. 300 milligrams you're probably gonna get on the first try. Now let's say for your cat past that, I'm seeing them more often, they're not as stressed. I'm more now into 150, 200 milligram range. So cats who get used to us, they're happy, we've built up a relationship, we can potentially lower the dose, right?
Because you're gorgeous. You're gorgeous. Yes, you are. How's life on your 200 milligrams gabapentin?
So here's Ernie on 200 milligrams of gabapentin. Here's what I want you to see. Instead of fear, anxiety, and stress, we instead have curiosity. He's coming up to us. He's sniffing our shoes. To be curious and open in the environment means he's got to be feeling good about himself. It is a night and day shift for him. He'll even walk and touch me and go on my socks. This is a far cry from hissing and escalating. He'll go to new objects like the scale, investigate it, and he will even, with some treats, weigh himself. He's kind of in slow motion. Now, the gabapentin also acts as a pain medication, so when I give him his vaccine, notice he's more preoccupied on love and treats and feeling good versus anything else. I even did his full exam and he was A-okay. That is the power of this approach. This is what some cats look like on 200 milligrams of gabapentin. Yours could be more drowsy, some are less drowsy. Lower than 100, honest to goodness, I think it's a waste of everyone's time. And not throwing anyone in the bus, but a lot of clinics, you're gonna get 50 milligrams night before, 50 milligrams the day of, and all we're doing is prolonging the inevitable, okay? Now they're just dozy and angry, right? And so 50 milligrams, that sort of dose is, it's great for arthritis, it's great for neurological pain. That's that range for me, 25, 50, 75 sort of thing. If you really want to be intentional with what you're doing with the sedation protocol based on pre-exposure, and this is what we do, this is the way it's going to work well for some cats. Now, there is a small percentage of cats where they're sensitive. You know, I had a friend a few years ago, her cat was sensitive to gabapentin. Even 50 milligrams took this little kitty for a loop. So I do encourage people, once you get the kit from us on that first day that I've met you, and we've talked about all the problems, we're gonna organize everything, get everything moving for you. You know, it's okay to do a little test dose, like 25 milligrams, 50 milligrams. And if your cat reacts normally to that, they're gonna be fine at the higher dosages as well. So the safety is very, very high. It works very, very good. It's very rare that that's not true. Okay, then we have some cats where, oh my goodness, what if I had to do something right away? Your cat was not an emergency, but there was something very urgent that I had to take care of on that day. Or the 300 milligrams wasn't enough. Or 150 milligrams went into their mouth, the rest went on the floor. We always give you extra, but this is just the reality. It's not always you can get something in a cat's mouth, especially when you want to, because they are the boss. Then I use something called calming sedation, and this is fantastic because it's a needle, but if I've preloaded them with gabapentin, they're already kind of feeling good. Gabapentin is a pain medication and they're not gonna feel the poke as much. Then working within your home, they're in their favorite place, I give this a little poke and what happens? Within 5-10 minutes, some cats kind of get amorous and hungry. So I'm always like, let's bring up the treats, bring up the food. And in that moment, sometimes you might witness the best sound ever, which is angry eating. This is like, okay, so, you know, we didn't totally gork them out, but they're feeling good, but they're looking at you. Let's say I'm taking a blood sample and they're eating the food and they slightly growl a little bit. So they're like, nom, 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 nom. It is the best sound ever. It's a privilege to hear that sound because it's not anything traumatic to them. They're just telling us opinions and they're allowed to talk. Just like you and I, if we go to our doctor and I get a needle, I don't like needles on myself personally, and that's what it is. I'm allowed to talk about it. And so our cats are allowed to talk about it too. So there's that. Now, last phase of sedation for a kitty cat, if a cat needed to be sedated, these are cats where they're highly survivable. You know, you can't fool them. You can't put anything in their food. And then you can even give them this calming sedation technique that we do, and they're absolutely not going to stand for it. That is okay. We don't blame those cats. They are who they are. We don't want them to change. They can be who they need to be. So this is when we use something called kitty cat magic. What's kitty cat magic? It's a trio of meds that I put in. We get it in and they're just counting sheep. And then when we're done doing what we gotta do, I hit a reversal and then awake they get. I wouldn't say that's the majority of our pets that we see. Most pets fall between the first case scenario, which is it's just coming over, being humans, being with your cat, having a priority list, and then knowing how to how to go with them. And so as you can tell, when I walk in your house, and let's say your cat is doing whatever, growly, doesn't want to be touched, you're never gonna see a frown on my face. You're never gonna see a worry from me or my team. It's for us, it's just Tuesday. We're here, we know what we're doing, we know exactly what your cat needs. And for us, part of all of this is we're protecting their bond with you, their bond with us, but most importantly, their psychology, right? Their psychology, their opinions, their feelings. Vet medicine is transformed. And that's what we do at the 100X Mobile Vet, and we do that exceedingly well. Have questions about it? Drop us an email, give us a call. You can like, subscribe to our YouTube channel here because you're gonna get a lot more tips like that from me. Coming up is gonna be talking about dogs, our techniques with dogs, just as cool.